Have you ever really stopped to think about what a computer sees when it looks at a photo? It's way more than just a bunch of tiny squares. We're going to pull back the curtain and get into the hidden science of how machines translate color into actual understanding. And, you'll see, it is changing pretty much everything.
Okay, so let's start with a little puzzle. Why is it that you can look at a red apple in bright sunlight or in deep shade, and instantly that's a red apple, but a computer might get totally confused? The answer to that question, well, it gets to the heart of how differently we perceive the world versus how a machine literally reads it.
You see, for a computer, the default language is RGB. Every single color you're looking at on your screen right now is just a very specific recipe of red, green, and blue light all mixed together. It's an additive model, which just means you add light to create the color. So a value like, say, 25500, that's just pure bright red. Seems simple enough, right?
Well, yeah, it's simple for showing us pretty pictures. But for a computer that's trying to understand what's in that picture, RGB has this one giant flaw. It mashes the actual color information, the what color is it, together with the brightness information. And that makes it a huge headache for an algorithm to find something based on its color if the lighting isn't perfect.
So, to get smarter, computers needed a totally new way of speaking about color, HSI. And what's so cool about this is how it fixes the problem. Instead of mixing everything up, HSI, which stands for hue, saturation, and intensity, neatly pulls the color apart from the brightness. This is actually a lot closer to how we think about color, and for computer analysis, it is an absolute game changer. All right, so let's unpack this HSI thing really quick. First up, you've got hue. Just think of hue as the pure essential color. Is it red? Is it green? Is it blue? On a color wheel, it's just an angle, like red is at 0 degrees, green is at 120, and so on. It answers that basic question, what color is this? Next up, you have saturation. Now this tells the computer how vivid or pure that hue is. Are we talking about a super vibrant, punchy red? Or is it more of a washed out, grayish pink? If the saturation is 0, it doesn't matter what the hue is, you're just looking at a shade of gray. And finally, there's intensity. This is the brightness component, now totally separate from the color itself. Is the color bright and lit up, or is it dark and in the shadows? So you see, we've untangled brightness from color, and that's how we solve the whole problem of that apple in the shade. So how does this actually happen? It's really all just math. The computer takes the RGB values from an image, scales them, and then runs them through a few formulas to calculate those separate H, S, and I values. It's a direct mathematical translation from a language made for displays to a new language built for understanding. Okay, so this is where things get really cool. Once a computer can see color in this much smarter HSI model, what does that actually unlock? I mean, what can we really do with this new perspective?
The first really powerful tool in the toolkit is something called color slicing. Since hue is now its own separate number, we can just tell the computer, hey, show me everything that has a hue between, let's say, 350 and 10 degrees. And just like that, it can perfectly isolate every single shade of red in a picture and just ignore everything else.
I mean, just think about this for a second. Imagine trying to find every single ripe strawberry in a massive field of green leaves. For a machine using HSI, it's not some complex search for a shape. It's a dead simple command. Isolate a tiny slice of the color wheel. Boom. Instant recognition. Another really neat trick is using color complements. This transformation takes every pixel in an image and just flips it to its complete opposite on the color wheel. Red becomes cyan, green becomes magenta, blue becomes yellow. But why on earth would you want to do that? Because complementary colors create the absolute maximum contrast you can get. So in a complex medical scan, a tiny but critical detail, like a small anomaly in some tissue, might be really hard for a doctor to spot. But by flipping the image to its complement, those hidden details can suddenly just pop right out, making them impossible to miss.
All right, let's bring this all together and see where this stuff is actually making a difference out in the real world. Because these transformations, they're not just some academic exercise. They are the engine behind some of the most amazing technology we have today.
Take self-driving cars. For a car to drive safely, it absolutely has to be able to see a red stop sign or a yellow lane marking. And it doesn't matter if it's a perfectly sunny day, a foggy morning, or the middle of the night. Using HSI and color slicing is what makes that recognition so robust and reliable. And in medicine, wow, the impact is just huge. We have algorithms now that can automatically classify different types of human tissue on a biopsy slide just based on tiny differences in color. And like we saw, they can enhance scans to make tumors stand out, helping doctors make faster and more accurate diagnoses.
And this scales up like globally. From satellites orbiting the Earth, scientists can monitor the health of entire forests and fields of crops just by analyzing the exact hue of green. We've got agricultural robots that can spot perfectly ripe fruit for harvesting. This is color analysis being used to help manage our entire planet. Get your head around this number for a second. A standard digital image can represent over 16.7 million different colors for every single pixel. That is a staggering amount of data. And just looking at it isn't enough. Transforming it is how you unlock all the meaning that's hidden inside.
So the next time you see a machine identify an object, you'll know it isn't just seeing pixels. It's performing this incredibly sophisticated translation to see color in a much more intelligent, almost human-like way. Which kind of leaves us with one last big question. What other profound secrets are out there, just waiting for us to find, if only we could figure out how to see the world in exactly the right colors?